Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zarria Simmons, if you're new here. And I'm going to try to keep this video short. So recently I saw this video.
Everybody I know who's married right now, they're married to broke ass niggas. And they don't care. We don't give a fuck about your money. I couldn't care less about your fucking money, okay?
It's making the rounds on the internet and I have some issues with it. I find it very ironic that the woman in this video is, first of all, she's wearing a cross, a Christian, cross, a symbol of love and brotherhood and sacrifice and charity. And then she goes on to use such language. The N-word, currently right now, there's like this sort of push within the conservative movement, within the extremist right-wing sort of side of the ideological spectrum to kind of remove these lines that we draw between us racially in order to kind of get rid of racial tension in America. The easiest way to do that is to just like strip all of the meaning out of these words that draws a divide between us. I find this especially ironic given that it's frequently the right who says things like, you can't strip the meaning out of words. That words just have meaning and that's just how it is. You can't just redefine what words mean and redefine the significance of words. Meanwhile, here they are. Here are conservatives doing the very thing that they accuse the left of doing all the time. So the N-word isn't just a word. It doesn't just mean nothing. It isn't, just a word that's creating all of this tension and divide between Black and white Americans. This is a word that has hundreds of years of brutality attached to it. Millions of people's brutalization attached to it. And you can't just play that down and pretend like that's nothing. Not if you're sincere about your conservative values of, maintaining the meaning of language. The reason why there is such a reaction to the use of this word is because it's an inflammatory word. And I get the point that some conservatives are trying to make, if Black Americans are really over it, they're really over the history of this thing, they're really ready to move forward and erase these lines of separation between us culturally, ethnically, then why are they reacting? That's because it's a reactionary word. And I personally believe that, not even Black Americans, not even Black people should be saying the N-word. Nobody should be saying it under no frame, no context, because this is a word that, like I said, has the brutality and torture and murder of so many people associated with it. You can't just play it down like it's not a big deal. It always will be, forever. This is the issue that I take with some of my conservative peers, especially Black American conservatives. They pander in such a way that is pathetic. Frankly, it's pathetic. The desire that so many Black American conservatives have to push past racial tension and put these things behind us and let it no longer sort of dictate the types of relationships we can have with our non-Black peers. I get the sentiment to want to move forward and actually develop strong bonds with our non-Black peers and, sort of erase these lines of separation. I get the sentiment there, but this is not the way to do it. To relegate this word down to nothing and pretend like it's not a big deal and allow the space for anybody to just treat it like it's a big deal, like it's not a big deal, is especially pathetic to me. Where is your backbone? Where is your shame? I don't think you need to completely undermine the history and the experience of enslaved Africans in order to prove to our white counterparts that we're on board, that we're pro-America, that we're pro, ending, racial tension and all of these things. I don't care enough to prove that I'm an ally to white Americans, so much so that I'm willing to completely undermine the pain and brutality that my ancestors experienced. That's crazy to me. That is pathetic to me. I don't care enough to prove anything to white people by doing that. This is shameful. It's beyond shameful. It's disgusting that people are laughing about it like it's nothing, treating this word like it's nothing, the things that this word implicates like it's no big deal. Again, I understand this desire that so many people in this country have to want to put racial tension to bed, and they think the best way to do it is just by treating these things like it's no big deal. And no, that's not the appropriate response. That's not the best way to go about it. I think there are better ways to do it. sometimes I do believe that Black American conservatives can be a little spineless when it comes to what boundaries we erase and what boundaries we maintain with our non-Black peers. This sort of, I'm one of the good ones. I'm one of the, I'm on board with this whole mission of the conservative movement. Let me prove how much on board I am with it by just kind of allowing the space for these types of disrespects to happen, these types of shameful, disrespectful things to occur, and then pretending like it doesn't mean anything, like it's not a problem, and it's very problematic. And I, as a Black conservative, take issue with other Black conservatives being so spineless. Grow a backbone. Your white peers are not going to write you off because you say, no, we shouldn't use the N-word. Nobody should be using it, including Black people, because this word is damaging. This word implicates something a bit more than just nothing. Like I've said before, millions of people died over those hundreds of years in America's history, and in the most brutal and atrocious ways too. Like, it wasn't just them dying; they were raped, brutalized, whipped. Their children were cut out of pregnant women's stomachs and held over the mouths of open crocodiles, and they were stripped of their humanity by the use of this word. You can't just play that down like it's not a big deal, like it doesn't mean anything. And it's despicable that so many Black American conservatives are pretending like it's no big deal because they want so badly to prove to their non-Black peers that they're not like other Black people. We're not victims. You can say it. We don't care. It's disgusting. It's shameful. Where's your spine? Yes, we do care. We should care. Especially if we want to prove that we are compassionate, as a lot of right-wing conservatives like to say, especially the conservative Christians, which, again, I find it so ironic that this woman is wearing a cross. Not everybody who wears a Jesus piece believes in Jesus, obviously, because, if you really did, you couldn't move your lips to use a word that has so much brutality associated with such callous disregard. It's just not possible. And this is one of the issues that I take with the conservative community, especially the far right extremists. They are out of their minds. They're crazy. I think their heart is in the right place, just wanting to put this stuff behind us and treat it like it's no longer a problem. I think that there's a way to do that without actually minimizing this word and what it means. Not to mention, this is part of the reason why there's a growing demographic of people of color who, share sentiments with white conservatives, but don't feel like they can say out loud, I am a conservative. This is part of the reason why, because there's obviously still a lot of ignorance within the conservative movement, especially coming from white American conservatives like this. There's still a lot of tension, a lot of learning that needs to happen and education that needs to happen. This is part of the reason why so many people of color just don't feel comfortable saying that they are conservative. They don't feel like they'll be accepted, because in order, it seems as though in order to be accepted into this movement, you have to kind of allow just any old thing to happen. Just be okay with the N-word being used like this. Be okay with racial slurs being used and not react. Because if you react, you're not one of us. You're a leftist. You're sensitive. You're a victim. And it's like, no, just have some respect. These things should not be said ever by anyone, regardless of which side of the ideological spectrum you fall on. And people of color should not be made to feel like in order to be a part of the conservative movement, we have to be okay with racial slurs that was used to dehumanize our ancestors, to act like these things just don't mean anything to us. And the fact that so many Black Americans are co-signing it is just disgusting to me. You're pathetic. You have no spine. I'll say that 10 ways till Sunday if I have to. I'll die on that hill. Grow a backbone. It's not okay. And this woman should be ashamed, and the conservatives who co-sign her should be ashamed. Pick a side. Which one is it? Are we compassionate? Do we actually care about, forming healthy relationships with each other across our ethnic lines and across, our cultural groups? Do we actually care about doing it in a way that's constructive? I don't think so. It doesn't look like it. I don't blame all of the people of color out there who feel alignment with conservative sentiments, who don't want to be a part of the conservative movement because they feel like they'll have to be okay with this sort of thing happening, with this kind of disrespect happening. I don't blame them. It's part of the reason why I don't shout from the rooftops all the time that I'm conservative, because it does come with a bit of side eye from my Black and people of color peers, and I get why. This is insane that conservatives are allowing this to become like a normal standard. This just goes to show that there are not a lot of intelligent people in this movement, a lot of compassionate people. The right, the Republicans, the conservatives are definitely guilty of not being compassionate enough. I think they feel as though if you are compassionate at all, then you're basically like a liberal, you're a progressive. And it's like, no, you can strike the right balance and still have these traditional values at your core and these American values at your core. And it just goes to show how much of a lack of compassion there is, and understanding, and there's just a lack of that in the conservative movement. It's really ignorant, and it's really telling, and it's really damning. Conservatives should change your approach. It's time to get back to the drawing board and figure out a better way to sort of erase these lines of separation that doesn't call for us to be so disrespectful to one another's cultural boundaries. I have ideas about how we can sort of delete these lines of separation and sort of have more homogeneity in this society, and put an end to these types of racial constructs and walls and boundaries that we draw that keeps us so foreign to one another. This is not the way to do it. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about this. I will catch you guys in the next one. The next video that I post will likely be just some of the ideas that I have about how we can actually move past racial tension in this country and towards something a bit more homogenous and a bit more cohesive, which is necessary for a successful society. You can't have all of this separation and continue to maintain any sort of strength at the core of a society. It's just not possible. So with that being said, like, subscribe, comment, share, all of that good stuff. Support the channel by becoming a member, using the super thanks, the super chats, super comments, all of that. And I will catch you guys in the next video.